Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Just Truth with Apostle Dwayne. Today is Monday, August 8th. And let's see here. Put this up for you. Okay, so today's message, are you ready for the battle of the mind? Let me tell you, a lot of times God doesn't give me these messages until like shortly before I have to go live or something, just because I've been so busy. I haven't been able to plan out everything as far ahead as I would like. And so today, as I was a couple of hours ago, just kind of meditating and sleeping, really, he finally, or I won't say finally, he gave me, what he wanted me to talk about this morning. And it's very important. What I'm going to talk to you about today really ties in with a lot of the things that I've been talking about for quite a while. And I'm going to talk about it maybe from a different perspective that I haven't before, but I'm also going to use some things that I have been talking about quite a bit, even up to last week. I was talking about the movies and things like that. So please stay tuned because this is going to be an insightful message. My book. Okay, so it's ready. It's ready to download. The ebook copy, you can get an ebook, a free ebook of my book temporarily. So the book is the price of the book is $40. That's $40 for the ebook, and it's worth every penny. But for a short period of time, I'm making it available for you to get it for free. All you have to do is go to my website, apostledwayne.com, and sign up, and you'll receive a link to download the book. I've already started sending it out, and I'm excited to hear what the response is, because what's in this book is not anything that would have occurred to you. I mean, it's so many things that we see in the scripture all the time, and it never even occurs to us. And so what I'm going to do on Wednesday, when I come back on Wednesday on Just Truth with Apostle Dwayne, I'm going to talk about my book. It's going to be a show about this book, but it's not just this one book. He didn't just give me one book. He gave me a whole series, because there's too much information in there for me to put out and one. There's just too much. I don't even have time to do all the research and whatnot. And one thing that you're going to like about the book is it's a quick read. It's everything's in short little nuggets, just short little nuggets. The chapters are very short, but just like the word, they open up with so much power, and everything builds one thing on the next. So once you read this book, you're going to be, well, you'll see. I'm not going to oversell it, but I will talk about it when we come back on Wednesday on Just Truth with Apostle Dwayne. Patreon. I'm going away from Patreon. I really don't like that platform. And so for those of you who are supporting this ministry, I'm setting up something new for you. I'm actually setting up a membership deal on the Just Truth on the Apostle Dwayne website. You'll see there's a thing for members, but now with the members, the people who support this ministry, God has given me a lot of revelation and things to be putting out, books, trainings, all kinds of things. And I'm going to have different levels of training and interaction, mastermind groups and stuff like that. But I'm going to actually give you, for those who are supporting me and my ministry, I'm actually going to give you a what do you call it? A loyalty program. So every dollar that you spend in supporting my ministry is actually going to be credited back to you as a credit. And so what'll happen is your credits will add up, and anytime you want to buy something, you'll get a dollar for dollar credit towards anything that God has given me to produce. Now, keep in mind, and so each time you spend that, it brings your total down, but just by supporting my ministry, you'll be able to participate and anything God has given me. Plus, I've got some extra benefits that I've built into. You're going to get a standard 15% off anything that I produce as well, or that the Lord gives me to give you. And this is revelation. It's funny. People spend a lot of money on things that don't really do anything for them. But what people like me and some others, I've seen some other people, man, they put out some really great information. I buy it, because it's an investment in me. And I'm gonna tell you that stuff, there's things that you can learn from people that completely, surpass anything you learn in college. And that's just a fact. Now that we've got YouTube and stuff like that, and and the information that we can get nowadays, you know, college is valuable for people who need that for their profession. But for everyone else, there's a lot of people who are getting degrees that are broke and that don't actually have a usable anything that they could use out of it. And it's sad because then they get caught into that same trap of they just never escape the rat race. Whereas the word of God will have you leap out of things, transform your life, be living a life that you want to live. And so that's what my assignment is, to help you get free and become a free thinker, and for God to be able to minister to you directly. And so, that's what the stuff that I have is for. You'll notice that my ministry is not like anything else that you'll find anywhere else. What the information I'm bringing to you, the way I bring it to you is unique, it's singular. And that's the way he's given it to me to do. But guess what? God's probably got something for you to do as well. And that's part of my ministry. My ministry is to not bring a bunch of people to me. My ministry that God has given me is to help everyone get lifted. And so you got an assignment, and my assignment is to help you with that. But in any case, anyone who's supporting me in my ministry, you're going to get a dollar for dollar credit back. Plus you're going to get a discount. And then there's one other thing. So on the dollar per dollar credit, as you go along, like depending on how long you go, I'm going to add to that. So let's say you're, supporting me on a monthly basis, whatever amount, after a year, you'll get $1.10 back. And in 2 years, $1.20. In 3 years, and so by the time you get down to, if you've been doing it for 10 years, $2 back for every dollar you put in towards something that I have. And I can promise you that nothing I'm putting out is going to be anything that doesn't have a value. I know it's got a value. I've seen it in my life, and I've seen it in too many people's lives already. Okay. And he's only given me more. Now, let's go ahead and get into the message for today. So are you ready for the battle of the mind? All right, let me show you something here. Recidivism. Recidivism is the tendency of a convicted criminal to reoffend. The prison has succeeded in reducing recidivism. That's people not coming back. All right. So recidivism is the tendency of a convicted criminal to reoffend. Is that a problem? Yes, it is. Why would someone, let's say, get caught doing something that they know is wrong, and then they get convicted and serve time, and then come out and do the same thing again? I can tell you that there's a few reasons. It's not just that simple. Now, some people, the system, the way it's designed, when you're a convicted felon, that's a problem. Finding work, that's a real issue. In this country, they say you're innocent until proven guilty, but once you're proven guilty, you're always guilty. And it's sad because Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody needs a second chance. Everybody needs a little help. You know, nobody's perfect except for Christ. But the tendency for people is to hold someone else once they got you in, or you did something. The tendency is for people to hold you down. It's just like I was talking about on Shabbat when I was talking about the thing with the firemen. Here you got people out there risking their lives to save people's lives and their property, and they'll never let them go from that. I mean, once you get out, you can't even continue fighting fires, a job that nobody else wants to do. I mean, and it's sad because we as people put each other in jail. Okay. And so and so some people, when they pay their debt to society, they come out, they're labeled, they're stigmatized, and now they have trouble and they can't find any other income, or at least that they can see. They can't think of anything. And so, you got bills to pay, you got a life to live, you got food that you have to put in your body, you're going to die, you got to make a decision. And next thing you know, Johnny that you used to hang out with pops up, hey man, I got something for you. Man, I ain't doing that no more. But you get hungry enough, that starts to become appetizing. The low paying wage jobs that you could do, being a garbage man or something like that, next thing you know, there's a lot more things that look more attractive. And so sometimes someone has circumstances where they can't really see another way. And so they choose to go back the old way. You see, so what happens is what we do is we make decisions based on what our thinking is. That's why my ministry is called Just Truth, is because you need truth. Truth is what will set you free. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Okay. But if your mind is not developed, you're only going to make certain decisions over and over and over again. So you have some people, they go back because they weren't able to identify other things, other ways to attack the problem so they could progress. Okay, that's one type. Then you got some people who they've got a compulsion, you know, like for me now, when I was young, I used to steal. God had to deliver me of that. I had a demon. I had something in me that would come over me and I would just want something. And I wouldn't stop until I got it. And this is back before I even knew God, before I even heard the word of God, the 10 Commandments, any of that stuff. But once I started hearing those things, it started changing me. I've told about this before. I remember I used to, when I wanted to do something that was wrong, it was like everything in me was going to do that. I didn't have that good angel. If I had a good angel, it was the lookout. My good angel was hey, move fast. You see what I'm saying? Watch out, get back, hurry up. That was my good angel. But once I started hearing the word of God, next thing you know, that one disappeared. My real good angel showed up. My conscience started showing up and my mind started changing. And I started to not want to do things that will hurt God's heart. When I knew that he was looking at me and watching me and they loved me and all this other stuff, and I heard that word, all of a sudden now there was a consciousness. I didn't want to do anything wrong. So that's what happened, from this. That says right here, this is Romans 12. And be conformed, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Okay, so that's two, right? Then there's this other group of people. There's this other group of people that never actually changed. When they got caught and they got convicted, it was like, darn it, I should have done it like this. When I get out, I'm going to do it like this. You see, you got some people who never actually change. All right. Now, people who don't actually change don't want to change. Some people love being the way they are. They just happen to get caught. They're that one who just gets caught. Some people never get caught. But when they check out of the body, they're going to get caught. And so I'm talking today to the first two groups of people. There's two groups of people that I'm talking to today. The first two. You got the those who can't see another way. And then you got those that have desires and compulsions and things that they can't overcome. All right. And so we got those two groups of people who need to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. But how do you do that? How do you get your mind renewed? Okay, I'll show you. I'll show you. Right here. Jesus said unto him, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. In the description for this show today, I put Jesus Christ TV. Thanks, Doc. What's happening, brother? In the description, I put, are you ready for the battle of the mind? Now, let me tell you what happened last week. Last week, I was talking to you about Black Panther, and I was talking to you about some of those things, right? And then this week, or on the Shabbat, I saw a movie. It was a Netflix movie called The Beast, something about the Beast. And it had this little girl, this little black girl. It was a cartoon. It was a cartoon movie, and they had this little black girl who was the star, and this white guy, and they put her out front, and whatnot. And it was a mixed race deal, and that was all nice. It was all mixed race. It was a pirate movie. They were going out and hunting these beasts out in the ocean. Okay. Now, who are cartoons marketed to? They're marketed to parents for something for the kids to watch. Now, who are kids? Kids are parents in the future. That's the next generation. The kids are going to be the ones that are going to grow up and determine what happens in the next generation. Don't you think that the devil wants to get to your kids? Don't you think that the reason that a lot of times the things that you did and the screw ups that you had was because somebody got to you, something got to you when you were young? Back when you were too stupid, too ignorant, too naive, too inexperienced to know what was good or not. But what happened was something in your environment allowed that thing to get to you. It was either from the generation, something that from previous generations, or it was something from your environment, entertainment, whatever. Something opened the door for you to take in something that you then put into your head and then became a part of the program that you acted on. That's why this word, God gave us the Bible as a book. It's an instruction manual because we should learn. Okay. Let me show you this here. This is a story in the Bible about this guy named Legion. Now, this man had 1,000 demons in him. That's what a legion was. And he could not be controlled. He could not be, he couldn't be contained. He couldn't even, he was walking around out in the forest or wherever with no clothes, cutting himself, screaming, and couldn't be bound by chains. He'd break the chains. That's someone who's got demons in them. These things have power. right? But look at what happened here. And they came to Jesus and see him that was demon possessed with the devil and had the legion and sitting and clothed in his right mind. Then they got afraid. They were more comfortable with this man having these demons in him than seeing the power of God change a man. That's the world that we live in. They are more comfortable. The people who are dying because their deeds are dark, they are more comfortable with darkness because their deeds are dark. So let me go back to this movie. So I watched this movie, and now Solomon he said, I took my mind with me. He went to study, whatever. Everything he went and looked at, he built stuff. He made stuff. He designed stuff. He owned comedians and singers. He could say at 2 a.m, hey, come Beyonce, come do a performance. I mean, that's who Solomon was. Okay. He didn't rent them. He owned them. They lived in his house, right? In his palace. And as a matter of fact, the dude was so smart, so wealthy that in Solomon's day, they didn't even use silver. They threw silver on the ground. The man was so industrious as a businessman. Okay. And so, and Solomon said, I take my mind with me. And I do that. Whenever I'm doing anything, I'm taking my mind with me. And let me explain what that is. That's like you're looking at yourself from the outside, like a conscientious observer, like someone who's not in the scene. You need to do that. That aerial view gives you the ability to see things from a different perspective, and you can do that. You can be in a situation right there and looking at it from multiple angles in addition to how you're attacking it. You have to do that. It's just like in chess where the grandmasters of chess or something can see like 8, 10, 12 moves ahead. In their mind, they're playing out 10, 12 moves of you and 10, 12 moves of theirs. So they've already got an attack and a counterattack for anything that you're going to do. That's when you're dealing with a grandmaster of chess. Well, this life is just like that. It's chess, not checkers. And so anyway, I was watching this movie, and in the movie, they said it. Well, okay. All right, look, I'm getting to my end of my time today, but I'm actually going to break this movie down on Wednesday on Just Truth with Apostle Dwayne, because you got to understand, they want the kids. A lot of this stuff with the media and entertainment industry, I mean, you don't know who's behind those cameras and all the other stuff, the artists and the script writers and all this stuff. You have to be careful. You have to take your mind with you because there's so many things. I will say this. It was a very subtle thing. The beast was the good guy. The king was the bad guy. The king had a book. And all the books that showed them hunting the beast and killing the beast were and here you had these people. They were pirates. They would go out, or not pirates, they were beast hunters, and they would go out on the ocean and they would kill these dangerous beasts. And so when you look at the books, when you deal with the beasts were actually not that bad. They were just animals. But then when you look at the book, the king who wrote the book, and it'd been hundreds of years of the kings. It was the king's book. It was the king's book that said they need to go kill the beast, but the beast was actually your friend. I'm gonna tell you something. King James Bible, hundreds of years old, a book telling you that the beast is bad. And then they use a little black girl to be the forefront of it for us because guess what? They're after us. It's us, people. God's getting ready to do something in the black community that he hasn't done in a long time. And you're going to have to get into that word. You're going to have to get into those scriptures because it's coming. This stuff is not slowing down. God is in the process of ripping covers off and showing all kinds of stuff. And I suggest you get that book that he gave me. And that's just the introduction. That first book is just really just an introduction to the principles. And when you read it, it's going to blow your mind, And again, right now you can get it for free. Okay, so I'm at the end of my time, but I just want to tell you, the mind, it's all about the mind. It's all about the mind. The reason someone will become a recidivist is the mind. Right here, Jesus said you need to love the Lord thy God with all thy mind, heart, and strength. Or with all, right here, he said, with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. And let me tell you, your mind is not just your brain. Your mind is your thinking, it's your dreams, your aspirations. Give those things to God. Don't just give him, the bare basics of your head. Give him your dreams and aspirations. And I promise you, if you start to do that, he will give you vision. And that's in the book. Okay. All right. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and sign out now, and I'm going into Success with Apostle Dwayne right after this. And again, that's on success. All I talk about is wisdom, like the wisdom of Solomon and things like that. And I've got something good for you coming up right next.